Symbolism. It can be powerful, or it can be dull. Symbolism is a tool in the art of conveyance used to represent a point, or a meaning, or a message. Classic books like Lord of the Flies or Animal Farm are perfect examples. They stand alone on the power of their symbolic representation. But what happens when you put that into a video game? What happens when the symbolism is all that's there?
Today's hidden game is PAPO and Yo, that pretty little indie game that everyone forgot about. Originally a PSN exclusive in 2012, this symbolic puzzle platformer follows the story of a boy named Kiko and his friendship with a monster. It's a short, simple game, composed of childlike wonder, beautiful puzzles, aesthetically moving graphics, and horrible, horrible bugs. I remember PAPO and Yo receiving decent promotion and quite a bit of publicity for an indie game. I think I even remember seeing a commercial about it. It was one of the big PSN exclusives Sony had to show off that year, alongside games like Journey, and it seemed like they had pretty high hopes for it. That is, before it came out. After it was released, I didn't really hear anything about it ever again. Nobody seemed to care for PAPO and Yo. Nobody seemed to be playing it. Nobody seemed to be talking about it. So I assumed it wasn't all that great. Is it all that great? Let's take a closer look. PAPO and Yo, roughly translated to Father and I, is a game that all takes place inside a child's mind. It follows the story of Kiko, a little boy hiding in the closet from his raging, abusive, alcoholic father. He escapes from his father by, more or less, climbing into his imagination. The world he creates around him is beautiful. Beautiful, vibrant, and personal. Reminiscent of stories like Where the Wild Things Are. This is a world solely created by a child for himself to hide within. And there's frogs. The whole game is spent here, inside this seemingly abandoned Brazilian favela. A lost city, town, neighborhood, surrounded by mossy rocks, rusted metal, and green mountains. This world is the game's greatest strength. The empty windows, the scattered rooftops, the crumbling architecture. It really did something for me. It haunted me, brought me back to a realm of personal desperation. The ever-clouded hope for a sense of belonging. The rusted tinge of a childhood spent in solitude. The familiar pain of feeling trapped. This place seems as though it were designed to reflect the player. A sort of canvas for your own memories. Or, if not your memories, a canvas for the main characters. I see his memories here. I see his trials, his dreams, his losses. The hollow space inside his head, once filled with love, hope, and ambition, and now filled with emptiness, aimlessness, and despair. But let's stop wasting time with Jordan sees the darkness in everything and get into the focus of the game, shall we? PAPO and Yo, quite simply, is about a boy and a monster. Named Monster. Monster is your friend, and he's there to comfort and accompany you. Problem is, he has a real temper. If he gets a hold of fruit, he'll feel calm. But if he gets a hold of a frog, he'll lose his mind, catch on fire, and try to kill you. Okay, first things first. If you haven't already guessed, the monster here represents the abusive father, and the frogs, they represent alcohol. This is a symbolic game. Like Lord of the Flies and Animal Farm, PAPO and Yo is a creation that stands on its symbolism alone.
Now, this is something that hasn't been explored in video games. Rarely